Hello class, my name is Nicole Newman, and this week we are going to talk about political parties in the United Kingdom. So let's get started. Political parties in the United Kingdom are an integral part of the UK political system. These parties seek office, and ultimately they aspire to win the general election in order to gain control of the government at Westminster. Traditionally, the United Kingdom has been referred to as a two-party system, much like here in America. And in the 1950s, these two parties won 97% of the vote. However, this portion of votes declined to 68% in 2005, so this classification may no longer be appropriate in modern times. Today, the United Kingdom is primarily dominated by not two, but three political parties, the Conservative Party and the Labour Party, which are the two-party giants, much like the Democrats and Republicans here in America, and a third party, the Liberal Democrats, who are winning an increasing share of the vote. Minority parties and devolved institutions are also key players in the government of the United Kingdom, making the classification of a two-party system somewhat obsolete. Political parties in the UK arose out of conflicts between the Whigs and the Tories in the 17th century. At this time, the Whigs and the Tories were more so associations between groups of affluent individuals rather than political parties. The political parties we see today are much more formal and organized. The Whigs and the Tories were much more informal. These parties, though, would slowly evolve into the formal political parties in the mid-19th century, following the Great Reform Act of 1832, which brought changes in the electoral system in England and Wales. The Tories would soon change their name to the Conservatives, and the Whigs to the Liberals, and thus the two-party system begins. These two parties would stay in power until the 1920s, when liberal representation declined, and a third party, the Labour Party, emerged with its first minority government. The Labour Party would soon take the Liberals' place as the Conservatives' biggest rival. The Conservatives and Labour parties would dominate politics in the UK until about the 1880s, with the emergence of the Liberal Democrats, who would become a major player in the UK political system. Now let's take a look at the United Kingdom's main political parties. The Conservative Party. The Conservative Party is the UK's oldest and most successful political party, and Conservative Prime Ministers have served the government for over 50 years. The Conservative Party finds their origins in the Tory Party and was first formally organized, as I previously mentioned, in the 1830s after the Great Reform Act extended voting rights. The party split up in 1846, but former Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli reorganized and strengthened the party 30 years later. And in 1886, the party merged with the Liberal Unionists and officially became the Conservative and Unionist Party, though they rarely use this name today. Notable prime ministers coming from the Conservative Party include Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher, and the party currently rules in coalition with the Liberal Democrats under Prime Minister David Cameron. Though this is the UK's largest party, membership has been declining in recent years. The Conservative Party is considered center or moderate right. The party is generally favored by upper and middle class citizens, and they promote policies such as limited taxation, limits on immigration, and a strong defense. The party subscribes to a philosophy: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Prefers to fix problems over time rather than introducing radical reform. Now let's take a look at the other main political party in the UK, the Labour Party. In 1900, an alliance between socialist and labor unions came together for a conference on labor representation. These associations would form the Labor Representation Committee, which represented the working class, and would evolve into what we know today as the Labour Party. In the beginning, the Labour Party worked closely with the Liberals, and within 2 decades, the Labour Party would become the second largest party in the United Kingdom, and won its first majority following World War II in 1945. Now let's take a look at the ideology of the Labour Party. The Labour Party is the United Kingdom's center-left or moderate-left social democratic party, and typically they draw blue-collar support, though they also have support from members of the middle class, specifically teachers and college professors. The Labour Party supports social justice, specifically workers' rights, and guaranteed employment. They also hold education and training in high regard, and also promote nationalization of economic institutions. The Labour Party was responsible for their national healthcare system in the United Kingdom. Now let's take a look at the Liberal Democrats. The Liberal Democrats were founded in 1988, so it's much later than the other two political parties, and they originally sought to be a moderate alternative to the two major parties. After the victory of Margaret Thatcher, 4 members of the Labour Party formed the SDP, or the Social Democratic Party. This party initially tried to run, but after a less than ideal election in 1987, the party merged with the Liberals to form the Liberal Democrats. The Liberal Democrats are now the United Kingdom's 3rd major party in Parliament, and in 2010 they formed a coalition government with the Conservatives. Though the party originally intended to be a moderate alternative to the Conservatives and the Labour Party, today the party is actually the most left-winged of the 3. They support policies that we see here in America typical of Democrats, such as progressive taxation. They also support and advocate the introduction of a written constitution, which we know that the United Kingdom does not have, like here in America. The Liberal Democrats advocate widespread reforms. They advocate reforms in many areas, including banking, elections, education. Now, these 3 parties are not the only important factors in the UK party system. There are also parties from the devolved institutions, and there are other minor parties as well. Membership of nationalist and single-issue parties have risen in recent years. Devolved institutions are statutory granting of powers by Parliament to the government of Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, and their executive bodies. These institutions produce their own political parties, and here multi-party politics thrive. Such parties include the Scottish National Party in Scotland, Plaid Cymru in Wales, and the Unionist parties, UUP and DUP, and the Social Democratic and Labour Party and Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland. Single-issue parties, such as the Green parties, which focus on environmentalism, are also key players in the United Kingdom's government. We're going to take a look at the election results from the 2010 election so we can get an idea of all the different political parties here in the United Kingdom. As we can see here, party politics in the United Kingdom are dominated by the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. So the question is, how do we classify party politics in the United Kingdom? Some argue that the United Kingdom is, in fact, still a two-party system. It is also argued that the United Kingdom is a 2.5-party system. This is because a smaller party exists alongside two giant parties. It is also argued that the UK does have a genuine multi-party system. And some say the UK is a dominant party system because of the spells where it has been dominated by the Conservative Party. So that's my question to you this week. How would you classify the government and the party system in the United Kingdom, and why? I hope you all enjoyed my presentation, and I hope you learned something about political parties in Britain. Thank you very much.